Welcome to Chapter 2 of Outed. Let's begin. Mitch. Why did I ever leave the Parker house? I pulled up to the curb. I didn't want to upset Bailey again. In front of the two-story monstrosity my parents called home. Red brick, pillared entrance, a white fence, French windows, whatever that meant, and a garage that could fit 2 of Jared's houses in it. 6 bedrooms, 3 baths, a game room, and a kitchen bigger than my high school. The monster house was the only house on the street with a lawn. Bailey demanded it, because that's what I had growing up. I could hear my parents screaming at each other. How long had this fight been going on? 3 more pay periods and I could move out. 6 weeks, and counting. It would have been a little sooner, but I had to pay off that truck. That and the dragon chess set on my MasterCard. Little black and white hand-carved dragons with sapphire eyes fighting each other. So cool. But the dragon chess set was nice. I kept it hidden in my closet. If Bailey found it, and was in one of his moods, it wouldn't survive. The best part about my life right now was that all my debts were paid off. I could walk out that door and get an apartment as soon as the money came back in. Or, a worst-case scenario, live in my truck while I saved. When I was younger, I thought the way Bailey acted was normal. I mean, you see angry dads on TV every so often. Then I thought it was my fault, and I had to be a better son. And Mom had to be a better mom. Sometime in middle school, I wondered if he had anger issues, or if he got drunk, or if he was so frustrated with life he took it out on us. Well, me mostly. Sometime in high school, I didn't care what that reason was. It was time to get my finances together and plan on moving on. I was ready to move. I had pared down my possessions to what I needed, so at the right time, I could just leave. No one knew, but at the bottom of my backpack were an extra pair of briefs, socks, another shirt, pants, and a couple of energy bars in case I had to leave in a hurry. Bailey hated me that much, and that's why I needed karate. The kids in high school, especially Roman, wouldn't beat me up again. That was 3 years ago, and I still remembered the locker room incidents like it was only 5 minutes ago. Both of them. It's not fun having your head shoved in a toilet while somebody flushed it over and over because somebody thought it was cool. And Bailey wouldn't hit me again either. A black belt would solve all my problems. Trouble was, I was only a green belt with a stripe, with another year or more to go. If I hadn't started karate, I could have moved out almost a year ago. But if I hadn't started karate, I might not survive. Independence or survival. Only 6 more weeks. I climbed out of my ugly truck, grabbed the backpack, and beeped it locked. It didn't matter if everyone called it ugly. With it, I could get away from this madhouse. Maybe if I was careful, I could sneak in, change into my gi, sneak out, and head to the dojo. Donna and Bailey's screams grew louder. I used the noise to unlock the back door, stepped inside the mudroom, and pushed it almost shut. Quieter to make a getaway. My room was on the main floor, in the back where Donna and Bailey could close the door and pretend I didn't exist. There was only one problem. They were arguing in the custom stainless steel kitchen/dining room, which was next to their mudroom. I walked past them, or tried to. "And where are you going, Mr. Perfect Hair, Perfect Suit, Perfect Attitude Problem?" yelled. He had 2 buds on the counter next to him, neither open. Bailey didn't need to drink to get angry. Beer was the afterthought. "Come back to wreck the family some more? Crawling back from your boyfriend, or did he kick you out?" Best not to answer. Sometimes he moves on. I walked past, dodging around the glass table. Bailey grabbed my arm with that spray-tanned hand, a simple wedding band on one finger and his gaudy class ring on the middle finger. "You are disrespectful and an embarrassment. If the neighbors knew what you did, they would hate you. Look how you dress. Are you trying to look like an emo slut?" "I'm late for karate." "Karate," Donna said. "You've been using that excuse for too long. I already know that you're sneaking out. We gave you everything, and look at you. That got me angry. You didn't give me anything. I earned it. 2 jobs, and I didn't use your stinking money. I don't eat your food. I don't use your driveway. You don't let me use it anyway. I bought my own truck. I buy and wash my own clothes and dishes. I clean my own room, take care of my own medications. When was the last time you even washed a plate? Disrespectful little snot. My father raised his other hand. I yanked my arm free, standing up to him. At least I don't hit my family. Slap. Donna screamed. Bailey grabbed my arm again. You show some respect. When you earn it. I held my stinging cheek. I knew a simple block would have stopped it, and I couldn't do that much. Pathetic. Excuse me. You're making me late. I yanked my arm free and marched to my room. 3 pay periods. That's all. Don't walk away from me. I'm your father, and you will do what I say. I didn't respond. I closed my door and locked it. If I'm lucky, the cheek won't bruise or swell, and I won't have to make up another skateboarding accident. It's your fault he acts like that, Bailey yelled to Donna. At least the door muffled them. There was no way I wanted to face them again, so I grabbed my gi and my duffel, opened my window, and climbed out. I discovered another problem. As I got into the ugly truck, a police car pulled up beside it. Donna and Bailey still screamed inside the monster house. My neck muscles tightened and the headache began. Soon it would start pounding, and a little while after that, it would be a full-blown migraine. Evening, I said as the middle-aged officer approached me and squinted at his name. Officer Lopez? Evening. Officer Lopez shone his flashlight into the truck's open window. Driver's license? I pulled it out. You live here, Mr. Lassiter? I don't really want to, but yeah, call me Mitch. I made sure my hands were at the 10 and 3. Is there a problem? Do you know anything about a domestic issue at this address? It's my parents. Again. It's giving me a headache, so I'm leaving. Can you do anything to cool them off? Nope. I just went inside to grab my karate gear and they started on me. Today must be Pick on Mitch Day. I leaned forward and placed my head on the steering wheel. Every time I went home, the migraine started. High blood sugar, low blood sugar, fasting, not fasting, earbuds in or not, my neck tightened and so did my shoulders and then the headache. Sometimes when they got bad, I just called them migraines. Donna said I faked them. Do you mind if I take off? I am so tired of this. Tuesday, 4 days before the apocalypse. Jared. Mitch's good luck charm worked. Too bad my dick didn't. I slowly rolled out of the strange bed, found my briefs and pants and put them on. My phone said I should have left 10 minutes ago. Why did I do this to myself? Hungover, in a room I didn't recognize, sleeping next to a woman who probably didn't recognize me. The worst part? I lost my erection halfway through and never came. She'd either politely faked an orgasm or never noticed that I didn't have one. Sometimes I felt like an empty beer can, all hollow inside. How many beers did I have? Morning, she said, rolling over and pulling up the sheet to cover her breasts. Morning yourself. What was her name? Sorry, I'll be late for work if I don't hurry. Me too, Jason. She sat up and held the sheet over her. It was fun. Call me, and we'll do it again. I'll do that. I smiled. She couldn't remember my name either, and she had called me. My condom lay in a paper towel in the nightstand. I grabbed it and flushed it while I was taking a piss. My lack of evidence flushed away. Then off for the Java dive. Did I have a spare uniform in my car? Had I thought that far ahead? Running down to my Hyundai, I climbed in, opened the Aleve bottle, took 2 and swallowed them. This was my life. The Java dive and cheap one-night stands and taking care of Mom. No hobbies, no sports, no real friends, except Mitch, the emotionless vampire. Mitch had more of a life than I did. Karate, Michaela, Joshua, me, astronomy, Harding's health, the tournament on Saturday, and his obnoxious music. He never dated, but it didn't seem to bother him. In fact, he never had to worry about catching anything. And what did I have? The Java dive, enough clothes to fill the racks at Walmart, lots of cheap and meaningless sex when I could get it up, and what else? Except for Mitch and Michaela and Joshua, I didn't know that many other people. The three social outcasts of high school. Mitch, the vampire, his ex-girlfriend, Michaela, was the girl with the claw. Her right hand was deformed since birth. One finger, one thumb. Sometime in elementary, the kids called it the claw. Then there was Josh, Michaela's current boyfriend, the smartest kid in school, which made him the biggest target in school. The kids called him Mr. Geek. I had been one of the kind of popular kids in high school, good at most sports, and dated a lot. Look at me now, though, an all-star barista. Loved the job, but everything else about my life was like my dick. Nothing lived up to expectations anymore. Don't get me wrong, I loved my mom, but sometimes I wanted to be as free as Mitch, or as smart as Joshua, or as independent as Michaela. Look at Mitch. He had worked 2 jobs until he owned his own truck at age 20, and he was halfway to a black belt. The joke about the vampire was how could parents so rich have a kid so poor? And Michaela, the girl with the birth defect for a hand. Mitch would only smile when he talked about sex with her, said it was incredible. Never gave details, but said I never had it that good. Rumor had it she gave him a secret blowjob in the library while he was playing chess with Joshua, and he was so distracted that Joshua checkmated him. She was an up-and-comer in some advertising firm. And Joshua? Disgustingly perfect A since middle school. Lost out on being valedictorian because he had an A- in gym. The shame. Tech genius. Currently working on a computer something degree. Michaela and Joshua moved in together and didn't mind Mitch hanging out with them. He had even taken both of them to the Overlook to look at stars a couple of times. Mitch, his ex, and her boyfriend. Weird. Maybe they were into threesomes. Nope. Joshua was too straight for that, and Mitch was too shy. And me? The only thing I wanted was cheap sex. I had no goals, a job that wouldn't go anywhere, no life. I couldn't compare to a black belt, or some big advertising job, or a college student with grades like that. Somehow I had become friends with all of them, especially Mitch, the vampire and the ex-jock. Sounds like a bad porn flick. Someday I'd find a goal, or someone special, or maybe someone who needed me. Someone that would let me be their white knight. Good to dream, I guess. It would never happen. Mom needed my help just to survive. At the next light, I quickly sent a text Mitch's way. Good luck charm worked. Yeah, the charm worked. My dick didn't. But no reason to tell Mitch that. Mitch texted back with some laughing emoji. The vampire was up at this early hour? Oh, maybe it wasn't so early. Do you remember her name this time? The light changed, and I drove the rest of the difference to the Java dive before sending the next text. No. 5 laughing emojis came back. I sent, at work. Talk to you later. Mitch replied, I want details. I couldn't resist one more text. Pervert. A moment later, Mitch responded, That's why you love me. Gotta run. Maybe that's why I liked Mitch. The all-brooding vampire could make me smile. I had packed a work shirt, thank God, and changed in the parking lot before running in. At least I didn't have to open today. I took over as barista, only 3 minutes late, but nobody seemed to notice. Morning rush hit, then the mid-morning slumps, followed by the lunch rush. Mitch came in, holding his longboard in one hand, his helmet in the other, his hair wind-blown and free. Maybe I had known Mitch too long, but I knew by looking at the too serious face and his red eyes that it had not been a good night. Mitch ordered as usual, medium decaf, black, and took a seat at the bar next to me and the coffee machine and rubbed his fingers on the counter. Admit it, you still don't remember her name. His mouth smiled, but his eyes didn't. I've been working on it, I said. Mitch's was the 4th cup down, after 2 cappuccinos and a frap. How's Harding's today? The usual. We had to sort through the shelves and find the almost outdateds for the food pantry. I think I'm seeing little numbers everywhere now. One cappuccino was done. What's wrong? Mitch looked at his hands. My parents had another fight last night. Bad one. Were they yelling at you? Mitch sighed. He opened his mouth to say something, then closed it again. Talk. Don't go deep on me. 2 cappuccinos were done. Somebody called the cops. He said so quietly that I almost couldn't hear him above the lunch rush. Bailey thought it was me. Wouldn't believe me when I said no. Big surprise. The cops were there for an hour, and when they left, so did I. Frappuccino done. Where'd you go? The dojo until they closed, then nowhere, everywhere. I ended in the high school parking lot sleeping in my truck when Officer Lopez woke me. The same policeman who responded earlier. Must be his own or something. He told me to head to the diner. They were open all night, so I spent the rest of the night there. Why didn't you come over? Mitch's order was easy. 1 simple decaf, and I set it in front of him. Mitch bit his lip. You guys are getting sick of me, staying over all the time. I thought paying off the truck was the right thing to do. Now I'm not so sure. If I hadn't, I could be looking for an apartment right now. Now who's lucky? I've got 4 years until my car is paid off. Maybe. But I've got to wait 3 more pay periods, then I can move out for real. I started the next drink, a cappuccino with a squirt of orange. It was just Mom last night. She would have loved the company. Mitch nodded, took a sip of his coffee, and looked up at me. Sometimes I just wish I had your life. He opened his mouth as if debating to say something more. What you need is one of your own good luck charms, a good German mirror and spear and some warm lady to go with it. I don't drink. Then a hot young college co-ed doing wicked things with her mouth. Mitch snickered and stared at the ceiling, and rubbed the inside corners of his eyes with thumb and forefinger. You are so lucky. Pretty bad? Yeah. Come on over tonight and sleep on the couch. You don't have to go back there. Mitch faked a little smile. Thanks. I might do that. I got to get back to work. Shelves won't stock themselves. By the way, you still make a good coffee. And he laughed. Donna and Bailey qualify as the worst parents in the Butte and deserve a trophy for it. About 100 customers swamped the Java Dive for the next hour. By the time I had time for a break, I called Mom and then texted Mitch just to come on over. We would work out the details later. Mitch wanted my pathetic life, and I wanted Mitch's. Irony. Or maybe I should give it a try, as long as I didn't have Mitch's parents.